Hi, I'm Scott Kersner, Innovation Economy columnist and blogger here in Boston.com, and this is another episode of the Entrepreneur's Grill. It's totally unscripted. We think anything could happen, but we know you're going to hear an interesting business idea from a Boston area entrepreneur, watch them get grilled by a Boston area investor, and then hopefully you'll chime in with some questions, comments, and ratings of your own on the webpage here. Our investor today is Karen Rubin from Matrix Partners, Entrepreneur in Residence. We didn't have space on the screen, I think, to put that whole title, but it's very impressive.
You can just call me Karen Rubin. I can stick with that.
And you were kind of early on part of the founding team at HubSpot, or an early employee at HubSpot?
I was the first product person to be hired at HubSpot, and that was in 2008. I was there for almost 5 years.
Cool, and we should mention that you've done like thousands of hours of internet television with HubSpot, HubSpot's weekly webcast.
We did a lot of online TV.
All right, I'm intimidated being in your presence.
I don't think that's
necessary. A true webcast foe. And Awesome Ghaffar of Ohyouhero, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you guys.
The company is about 18 months old or so, based in Boston.
That's right. We're down by North Station. We were founded about 1.5 years ago and have been quietly working away for the past 1.5 years, refining everything.
All right, so cool. This will be interesting because we're going to be the first to hear about Ohyouhero. It's been a pretty private beta, kind of stealthy company so far.
Yep.
All right, cool. So give us the 1 minute, what's the elevator pitch or the cocktail party explainer of how you talk about what Ohyouhero is doing?
Sure. So Ohyouhero is a social platform that allows anybody to make money on a short-term or part-time basis. So if you think about it, you have LinkedIn out there where you have a permanent presence, your resume online. People network for full-time jobs. But there's no open platform that allows anybody out there with any skill, whether it's bartending, babysitting, graphic design, to put up a permanent presence and go into business for themselves. So you have a storefront, we call it like a profile. You check off the skills you have, and it could be anything. You could check off multiple skills, bartending, graphic design, I'm an attorney, I passed the bar, and you can put all that together. You have ratings, reviews, and you'll have that permanent presence where you can go into business for yourself. You network within community groups, so you could join an alumni group for your college, you could join your church group, but it's set up like a social network so that people can connect to each other, and you have an open, easy way for you to build your brand, and you control your own destiny. So that's the idea behind Ohyouhero.
Cool. So Karen, just tell us the first kind of couple questions that would come to mind for you here in the pitch for the first time.
Well, you're building a marketplace, so you've got two sides. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're going to get business owners as well as people looking for the services?
Yeah, it's a great question. We do have that two-sided marketplace challenge. In our minds, the way to solve that is to use communities. So we want folks to come on board and join communities. So if you are a member of Park Street Church in Boston, you have 2,000 members. Folks can come on, hire from within. They can put up their own storefronts, and people can hire from within. Or if you go to Boston University or Northeastern or Suffolk or any college in the area, you can come on. You'll have alumni, parents, administrators. So the whole community comes on board at different levels, and then folks can both put up the skills that they have, and other folks within that community can do some of the hiring. So that sort of avoids part of the chicken and the egg problem and helps us get traction and density in the marketplace off the ground initially.
So you've also said you've got a couple of beta users or customers.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit, are they communities that are using it together?
Yes, we do have some communities. We also have a lot of interesting individuals who have different skills, from graphic design to DJs, believe it or not, babysitters. So folks have come on board in communities, local colleges like MIT and BU. And we do have hundreds of users already, so it's gotten off the ground. It's private at some level, but we're going to do a big marketing push in January, February. So,
where does the name come from?
Yeah, interesting question. We wanted to find something very unique. So one of our fellow co-founders, who's not here with me right now, but he came up with the name, and just a play that gives people inspiration. Everybody should feel heroic. So if you're out there, whether you're struggling or whether you're trying to build your own business, you shouldn't feel down about it. You should feel heroic and want to give it an uplifting play. We also have a very interesting comic branded theme, so folks who take a look at our site can see the comic and inspirational element. So the hero element comes from that.
And what's the ideal kind of job you think about being filled through the site? Because there's stuff like TaskRabbit that exists today, and Zarly, and things for kind of errand running and services. Like, is it really any task? Is it painting my house? Is it hiring a bartender for a wedding or something?
It's anything. So the bigger difference between us and, say, a TaskRabbit or a Zarly is not so much the nature of the task, but more the functionality. Those are sort of closed systems at some level where the company really prescribes and proscribes, whether it's the payment system or the way you interact. But the level of involvement here is more like a LinkedIn. It's a completely open platform. So you get on there, you have no barrier between yourself and the outside world. Anybody can search and find you. You can pay through the site, you can pay off the site. It's not designed to be a process where it's scripted. You have complete control over your brand. You are building your own brand. You're not building our brand. So you, the user, get into business for yourself.
So if they can pay off the site, how are you going to make money?
Yep, so we do have all the usual elements, the payment processor, background checks, all the back office services. Our idea is that we'd rather be a very large marketplace, something akin to a LinkedIn where you're a very large company, and have folks, if they want to pay offline, that's fine. But we'd rather have a small percentage, say 10% of folks using the payment system, or 20% or 30%, whatever it is, rather than force everyone to use it and have, say, a smaller number of end users in the long run. So this is a play, it's a very large idea. We're looking to make a national and even a global play down the road.
Cool. We should thank you for the pitch. Thanks for coming in to tell us a little bit about Ohyouhero. It was really great.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to hear about it.
All right, Karen, so Awesome says they're basically trying to do a seed round sometime in 2014, the middle of the year. They want to have some people using the site and be able to point to it as like, hey, there's some action going on here. What for you is like the biggest question over, their idea?
I think there's two elements. The first one is with regards to the fundraising. They're going to need to be able to show that they've got both sides of the marketplace coming in and collaborating with each other. And that is the challenge of a two-sided marketplace, and we talked about that. It sounds like they've got an interesting, different approach, but they're going to have to, when they want to start their fundraising process, be able to show they're making progress in that area. The second one has to do with the Care.coms and the Angie's List, as well as the TaskRabbit. I think there's a lot of marketplaces that are very niche and specific around a certain job function or
There's a new one called Handybook too, which is all about like I need a handyman or a house cleaner.
I need a handyman desperately. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And there's a bunch that are maid related. It seems like in this space they're going very vertical specific to what function you're looking for. They're trying to open that up, which is a noble cause and very interesting. They'll have to show that they're able to make both sides come together to do that.
Yeah, so they're trying to be more ambitious than all these very specific marketplaces, but then the question could be, how do you market that? How do you sort of explain what you can do with the site?
And I think going after individual communities, because if you want someone to come into your home and do a service for you, going to a community where you trust the people is a really interesting approach.
Yeah.
It will bring people together, but always two sides to every marketplace is important.
Yeah, so what would your piece of advice be to Awesome and his team, if it's early 2014? Is it basically just, okay, go and make the business work and get some examples of transactions and people who are happy with it?
Well, I think that if they're looking at raising in 2014 and they're launching in January, they don't have a lot of runway to get a lot of momentum going in the business. So I would focus on a couple of key communities and show that there's a lot of engagement and success within that community, so that they can say, we've done this in these 5 different communities in Boston. We've got X percentage of the people within the community participating and engaging. We can go do this in X number of more over the time frame. That would be really interesting.
Yeah, so investors want to see those data points and those metrics that
we love numbers.
Right. There you go. Well, thanks for being here for this episode of The Grill.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
And thank you for watching this episode of The Entrepreneur's Grill. We hope you'll check in with us again, and also chime in with your opinions. Is Ohyouhero something that you would invest in? What kind of questions do you have? We'll try to get Awesome to answer those questions in the comments. But thanks again for watching this episode of Entrepreneur's Grill here on Boston.com.